Hi, I'm Allie with the Potomac Bead Company, and I'm going to go over with you a little bit about how to hammer wire. For hammering wire, you need a steel bench block, and you also need a mallet. Whether or not your mallet has one end that's one style, a flat end, or a rubber end, it doesn't matter. Really what we're going to be working with is the flat end of the mallet. Be careful when you're working with these because they are a little heavy, so you want to put a mat underneath so you're not marking up your table or your floor, whatever you're hammering on. For hammering, the key to hammering is that you want to hammer as flat as possible from hammering block to hammering bench. So when I put my wire on, I want to do a nice flat hammer that's going to get me a flattened hammer look. If I want to get a look that's a little more of the dented look, that's what I'm going to hit with my mallet on an angle. But for basic hammering, you want to hit as flat as you can. I like to put a finger on top of my hammer in order to hit the hammering block and to balance it out to hit at a nice flat level. You're going to pick up your wire and you're going to use either 18 gauge, 16 gauge, anything thinner than that, you're really not going to see the hammering effect very well. And I just have 18 gauge gold plated art wire. And I'm going to be hammering just the very tip of my wire in order to make it a little bit of a flattened out edge in order to hold beads for an ear wire. To do that, you can either hold your wire off to the end of your block. I like to hold in the middle. Just be careful not to hammer your fingers. And what I'm going to do again is hammer as flat as I can with the flat side of the hammer to the flat side of the stainless steel bench block. I like to do, rather than a couple little hammers, I like to do 2 or 3 forceful hammers. It allows me to get a nicer hammer and a nicer flat edge. That way I don't have as many divots because there's not as many times for error because I'm hammering more times. Once I hammer on one side, I'm going to flip my wire over. And naturally it's going to have a little bit of a hammered look already on the other side, but I'm going to hammer again. Actually, the side that is down on the hammering block is going to be flatter. So I flip sides, the flatter side is now facing up, and I'm going to flatten out that other side a little bit more. This is going to get me a teardropped end to my wire, and it phalanges out a little bit. I can take a nail file then if I want, or an emery board, and kind of file that out. What that's going to do is stop your bead from falling off the end. So if you're ever in a bind and you don't have any head pins, you can flatten out the end of your wire in order to make the bead stay on.